center of the storm, Trent Mays and Malik Richmond. Before they were tried and convicted, their families gave 2020 exclusive access to their homes while the boys were under house arrest. The parents say the young men had been normal teenage boys, never involved in anything criminal before. Linda Mays is Trent's mother.
People that know him know that that's not him. He's always been what I think everyone would consider a role model.
Even though I'm not Malik's mother, he knows how I feel about him.
For Malik, it's another twist in a life story seemingly ripped from a well-known movie script.
Do you have any place to stay tonight? Don't you dare lie to me. Come on.
Just as in the movie The Blind Side, Jennifer and Greg Agresta took in Malik to help him escape a youth defined by poverty and violence.
You had some rough times, didn't you?
Yes. One day we were all just sitting in my living room, and all you hear is a big gunshot, and the bullet flew past my cousin's head. And basically every house I lived in was the same exact thing, get shot up.
His ticket out from bullets and broken homes was sports. At 8 years of age, Malik joined a Pee-wee football team. Greg Agresta was the coach.
He always caught my attention because he was very gifted at that time, much more than any other child. I said, this is a special kid. I'm going to do what I can to help him out.
The Agrestas took on legal custody of Malik for 2 years, until he was 10 years old. They have remained close ever since.
I was looking at your mantle over your shoulder and all the pictures of your family, and Malik is in all of those pictures, or many of them. I mean, was he really a member of your family?
Absolutely.
But The Blind Side meets Friday Night Lights now meets The Accused of raping a high school sophomore from across the river, a girl from a close-knit religious family.
The world only knows her as 16-year-old Jane Doe.
She's a nice girl. You didn't want her as your daughter.
2 teens on the verge of a rape conviction, all because a camera's eye captured evidence that would help the prosecution build its case. Next, police retrace the steps of that drunken night, searching for clues, house by house, cell phone by cell phone, and for the first time, first-hand accounts from Malik and the witnesses. The secrets of the Stubenville teens emerge.
I just kind of heard people this one.
At that point, weren't you thinking she must be really drunk?
Prosecutors say the night begins with this, a tweet from Trent early in the evening. Huge party, banger. The party is at this house, hosted by a 16-year-old girl. As many as 50 teenagers have gathered to celebrate the end of summer. There are no parents at home. Jane Doe knows Trent through mutual friends.
She had asked Trent to come to that party specifically. Yes.
But Malik is meeting her for the first time.
Would you call it a wild party?
Yes.
Were people getting drunk?
Well, everybody was drinking, but I wouldn't say like drunk.
One person who witnesses agree is drunk is Jane Doe. She's had a red slushie spiked with vanilla vodka, a Smirnoff malt liquor, and several shots. Just after midnight, the host's 24-year-old brother comes home. He is a volunteer football coach at Big Red. He breaks up the party, sending drunken teenagers out into the night. He later tells police he did not see any intoxicated teens. In exclusive police interviews obtained by 2020, the teenage partiers recount what they remember. Jane Doe's best friend says she is determined to leave with Trent.
I went out and I tried to stop her. I was like, "Oh, you're not leaving with them." And she was like, "No, I'm going with them, because she's done this before." I was like, "She's not doing this again."
How did the victim seem to you?
Fine. She was just a little angry at her friends and telling her friends to leave her alone, and she's fine.
Even though she stopped drinking, the effects of the alcohol continue to worsen. Jane Doe gets into a car with Trent, Malik, and 2 other boys for the 10-minute drive to the house of another Big Red football player.
I could tell she was gradually getting more drunk and worse throughout the night. That she didn't walk.
As soon as she arrives at the second house, Jane Doe goes to the bathroom and gets sick.
It is all Stubenville High School people.
Yeah.
The victim is from West Virginia.
So she is isolated, she's alone, she is the most vulnerable because she's that intoxicated.
At this house, the only opportunity for a parent to step in slips away when the mother at home says any teen not sleeping over has to leave. It is as they all leave that this infamous photo of Trent, Malik, and Jane Doe is taken.
How did that picture come to be taken?
Her ex-boyfriend said he wanted to get a picture of this drunk B.
How did she get into that position?
She was willing to get in the picture that way, man. We asked her, and that's when she said, yeah, it's fine.
What was she doing when you asked her that question?
She was just like laughing. We were all just talking, just clowning around.
Once again, concerned girls at this second house plead with Jane Doe not to leave with the boys, but they don't call for help.
She wanted to go to Trent, and we just kept trying to tell her, you don't want to do this, you don't want to go with them, and I just let her do what she wanted, which I understand was wrong.
Now, outside the second house, a disturbing scene. Jane Doe sitting in the street, vomiting, surrounded by a group of laughing boys.
And she throws up on her blouse, and she takes her blouse off.
She took her blouse off?
Yes.
All by herself?
Yes.
Why did she take her blouse off?
Because she had threw up all over her blouse, and I gave her my jacket. There was a lot of people just around her laughing.
Laughing?
Yes, just laughing about her throwing up and laying in the street.
The humiliation continues when a boy offers $3 to anyone who will urinate on her. A joke, he says, that nobody takes him up on.
I just kind of heard people piss on her.
And this is all on the street right outside this house?
Yes.
Where there is a parent home.
Correct.
And nobody came out to the street to see what all the commotion was?
Nobody came out of the house to say, hey, what's going on? Nobody got her water. Nobody said, hey, I'll take her home. Let's get her home.
Instead, that same group of teens gets back into the car for another 10-minute drive to their final destination of the night. The home of yet another big red football player. Malik is in the front seat. Jane Doe and Trent are in the back.
Is there anything going on in the back seat?
The music was up, man, so I couldn't hear nothing.
Playing on the radio that night, a rap song called Way Too Gone.
I'm way too gone, what the am I doing? Wake up in the morning, who the am I?
An anthem for a night that has already gone way too far and is about to cross the line from crass to criminal.
While we were in the car, Trent asked me to make a video of him, and I did. Yes.
Under Ohio law, Jane Doe has just been raped.
What was Trent doing?
Trent was rubbing on her breast, and she was kissing his neck, and then he was trying to unbutton her pants.
Did she seem to be responsive at all?
No, she was just kissing on Trent's neck.
But so she wasn't unconscious?
No, ma'am.
Around 1:15 in the morning, the group arrives at the third house and heads to the basement, where Jane Doe gets sick yet again.
At that point, weren't you thinking she must be really drunk?
I really couldn't tell you.
So you weren't thinking that a girl who keeps repeatedly throwing up was pretty drunk?
No, because it's natural.
You see that a lot?
Yeah.
At parties?
Not just at parties. You see it everywhere. You can see that at a football game. You can see that at a concert. You can see that anywhere.
And even though other witnesses say that she looked way out of it, that she was stumbling and slurring her words, you never saw her stumbling and slurring?
No.
Ever? During that entire night?
No.
She was having problems with coordination and vomiting. She was very drunk, and they had to have known it.
Nevertheless, another sexual assault is about to occur, and this time witnesses say Malik goes from being a bystander to a participant.
What's the very first thing that happened when you got on the stairs?
And they started fingering her on the floor, and they were both fingering her.
On this issue, Malik's attorney would not allow him to comment.
What I'm saying is that Nothing happened that evening non-consensual. There is no evidence to suggest that she was unconscious while laying there naked on that basement floor.
But other witnesses that night say she was very, very impaired, that she was stumbling, falling over. How is that not a heavily intoxicated girl?
No witness ever used the word impaired.
You don't think being drunk means being impaired?
Substantially impaired to the point where you can't consent is the issue.
But this witness tells police during the assault in the basement the girl is unresponsive and that Trent takes nude photos of her, creating more digital evidence that will eventually lead to his conviction.
That's why I was trying to tell him he needs to go to sleep. Stop.
But it doesn't stop. That same teenager later tells police he takes out his phone, but instead of calling for help on his way out, he too takes pictures.
How many pictures did you take while you were out?
Those pictures would eventually be deleted, but not before other boys see them, including Michael Nodianos, who reacts with that repulsive 12-minute rant.
She's at least a 14. She's better than a Thorn.
A video that was the tinderbox for the whole case, made by someone who would later tell police he wasn't even at the scene of the crime.
Are you there at all when she's in the house? No. I've never met her before or anything like that.
As the night finally comes to an end, the sexual assault may be over, but for Jane Doe, the verbal assault on social media is just beginning. Profane text messages, demeaning commentary, and Big Red's legendary coach gets called out of the locker room and into the interrogation room. What will he say?
Why are we waiting so late to ask?